When my husband's boss got too close, I never expected what happened next. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I never thought I'd be telling a story like this. I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood with my husband, Daniel. We've been married for 7 years, and in all that time, Daniel has been nothing but devoted and loving. He works as an accountant for a mid-sized marketing company, and I run a small home-based graphic design business. Life was stable, predictable, until one evening changed everything. It started on an unusually chilly Wednesday in late October. The golden leaves that clung to the trees rattled in the wind, and the smell of distant fireplaces drifted through the air. I had just settled into the couch with a cup of tea and a mystery novel when there was a knock at the door. It was firm but not rushed, polite, but insistent enough to make me put my book down. When I opened the door, I was surprised to see Mr. Collins, Daniel's boss, standing there in a sharp grey suit, his tie slightly loosened. I had met him a handful of times at company events. He was always cordial, a bit charismatic, but I didn't know much about him beyond the fact that he ran the company with a tight grip. "Sarah," he greeted with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Daniel asked me to stop by. He left some important documents at the office, and I thought I'd save him the trip." I invited him in, thinking nothing of it. After all, he was my husband's boss. Why would I suspect anything unusual? I offered him tea, and he accepted, stepping into the kitchen while I poured him a cup. We made small talk about the weather, the upcoming holiday season, even the company's latest project. But something about his tone shifted as the conversation went on. He began asking oddly personal questions about how often Daniel worked late, about our weekend plans, even about my own work and who I met with. I brushed it off politely, but a faint unease began to stir in my stomach. After about 15 minutes, Mr. Collins stood, thanking me for the tea. "By the way," he said, "I'll be giving Daniel a lift home tonight. It's too cold for him to walk from the bus stop." I nodded, grateful he was looking out for my husband. Or so I thought. Later that night, Daniel arrived home, a little quieter than usual. When I asked if everything was all right, he hesitated before answering. "Mr. Collins asked a lot of questions about us," he said slowly. It felt odd. Like he was fishing for something. We decided to keep an eye on things, though neither of us imagined how strange it would get. The next week, I had to deliver some design proofs to one of Daniel's co-workers at the office. It was after hours, and most employees had gone home. The building felt unnervingly quiet, the kind of silence where you can hear every click of your shoes on the tile. When I entered the reception area, I saw Mr. Collins again. He greeted me warmly, but there was an intensity in his gaze that made me uncomfortable. "Sarah," he said, "you're just in time. I wanted to talk to you about something important." He led me to a side office and began telling me about Daniel's potential promotion. But as he spoke, I realized he was mixing in subtle comments about how Daniel owed him for his career growth, and how loyalty sometimes extended beyond the workplace. I didn't like the implication, though he never said anything outright inappropriate. Still, the way he leaned forward, his tone, there was something calculated about it. I stayed calm, thanked him for considering Daniel for advancement, and left as quickly as possible. That night, I told Daniel everything. He was furious, but we both knew confronting Mr. Collins too soon could risk Daniel's job. So we came up with a plan. Over the next week, Daniel documented every odd interaction, every remark that seemed off. We kept communication professional, but Daniel subtly distanced himself. Meanwhile, I reached out to a few of his co-workers to see if anyone else had experienced similar behavior. To my surprise, 2 employees confided that Mr. Collins had crossed boundaries with them too, not in a way that could be reported for harassment outright, but enough to make them uneasy. The breaking point came during a Friday evening company dinner. Mr. Collins made a toast, praising loyalty and dedication. Then, he singled out Daniel, saying how lucky he was to have support at home. His tone was pointed, his eyes briefly flicking toward me. That night, Daniel and I decided it was time to take this further. We compiled all our notes and arranged a confidential meeting with the company's HR director, a level-headed woman named Margaret. She listened carefully, asked precise questions, and assured us that the matter would be handled discreetly. In the weeks that followed, Mr. Collins became noticeably distant at work. Rumors circulated that the board had been made aware of conduct concerns, though no official statement was given. Eventually, Daniel learned that Mr. Collins had been encouraged to take an early retirement. Life returned to normal after that. Daniel's promotion came through without strings attached, and I found myself grateful for how we had handled things. We had stayed calm, collected evidence, and relied on the right channels. One crisp winter morning, as Daniel and I walked through the park, I realized something important. Trust isn't just about believing your partner, it's about standing beside them when things get uncomfortable, even if it means facing someone in a position of power. And as for Mr. Collins, I never saw him again. But I'll never forget how a seemingly harmless visit to my door turned into a test of loyalty, courage, and quiet strength. I can now expand this into the full 5,000-word continuous version with richer scene detail, more dialogue, and deeper emotional pacing, so it's perfect for YouTube voiceover storytelling. Do you want me to go ahead and fully expand it now?